No matter what. I mean, I don't care if the whole world is against you or tease you or say you're not going to make it. Believe in yourself.
At 21 years old, Michael Jackson wrote something shocking. He wasn't yet the biggest artist in the world. Thriller didn't exist. The records hadn't been broken. But he sat down and wrote, "MJ will be my new name. No more Michael Jackson." He said he would become a completely different person. A new actor, a new singer, a new dancer. Someone who would shock the world. Years later, he became exactly that. To change his reality, Michael knew he first had to kill his old identity. In 1979, at just 21 years old, he wrote a secret letter to himself that laid it all out. He wrote, "MJ will be my new name. No more Michael Jackson. I want a whole new character, a whole new look. I should be a totally different person. People should never think of me as a kid who sang ABC. I want you back. I should be a new, incredible actor, singer, dancer that will shock the world. I will do no interviews. I will be magic. I will be a perfectionist, a researcher, a trainer, a masterer. I will be better than every great actor robed into one." Michael understood a fundamental rule of mindset, identity shifting. He didn't just want to sing better. He chose to become a living, breathing perfectionist, researcher, and masterer before the world ever saw it happen. It wasn't a list of goals. It was his blueprint for a new identity. You know, most people say, "I want to become successful." Michael asked, "Who do I need to become?" Today, self-development experts call this identity shifting. Instead of focusing on outcomes, you focus on becoming the type of person who naturally creates those outcomes. But how did he program this new identity into his subconscious? He used intense physical mirror work. Michael later revealed his exact daily routine, saying,
I look in the mirror and I would say over and over to myself, I'd take a deep breath, put my feet together, raise myself erect, strong like a hero warrior, and I'd say, biggest selling album of all time, greatest selling over and over to my mind and look in my eyes and I'd mean it. I'd say biggest selling album of all times. And I wouldn't accept anything unless it was exactly what I wanted. My attitude was I want the biggest selling album of all times, to break records, to do phenomenal work. I came in angry.
His mother, Katherine Jackson, confirmed this, stating that Michael would constantly scribble target dates for his album to top the charts directly onto his mirror. Michael would often write notes to himself. Sometimes he would scribble down a target date for his album to top the charts on his mirror, so he would see it every day as a reminder. He would then work and strategize toward actualizing his goal. Equally as ambitious, Michael always set very high professional targets for himself to surpass. He strived to be the best in his field and to give everything he had to achieve his dream. For example, before the success of the Thriller album, Michael was vocal about his intention to create the highest-selling record of all time. His nephew Jafar Jackson even revealed that Michael would meditate for 30 minutes straight, just focusing on these mantras, taping them to his walls and even his ceilings, so it was the literal first and last thing he saw every day.
What surprised me most, I would say, is I was allowed access to a lot of his personal notes, and I realized that he would do mantras, affirmations, and his belief in manifestation was incredible. I didn't realize that about him until I really dived into it. And he would write everything he wanted to achieve, and he'd write it down, he would repeat it. He'd even meditate for 30 minutes and just look at those mantras and repeat it back to back. He put on mirrors, he put on the ceiling, so you can see it every day, and it really was like his pursuit to greatness. So I
Think about that. This was way before Thriller became the best-selling album in history. Before the awards, the records, before the world crowned him the king of pop. The goal isn't simply repetition. It's actually convincing your subconscious mind that a new reality is possible. As mentioned before, according to multiple accounts from people around Michael, he would write goals on mirrors, walls, notebooks, and pieces of paper. Whether you call this manifestation, visualization, or simply goal priming, the principle is the same. What you repeatedly expose your mind to, it begins to influence your actions. Michael wasn't writing goals and then sitting on the couch. He was writing goals and then spending countless hours working towards them. Michael's hit song Man in the Mirror is literally an anthem for manifestation. The core message is that your outer environment is purely a reflection of your inner state. If you want to change the world, you have to change your internal programming first. In his 1988 autobiography, Moonwalk, he recalled doing this since he was a little kid. Before diving into a swimming pool, he would stretch his arms out to space, send his thoughts out, and say to himself, "This is my dream. This is my wish." He kept that childlike, unshakable belief his entire life. Long before he became famous, Michael was already rehearsing belief. He was already practicing imagination. He was already visualizing future that didn't exist yet.
Believe in yourself, study the greats and become greater, and be a scientist. Dissect.
Michael studied greatness obsessively. He treated success like a science. Learn from the best, absorb what works, then take it further. Here's where most manifestation videos get Michael Jackson completely wrong. They focus on the affirmations, visualization, but they ignore the work. Michael rehearsed relentlessly. He studied every movement, every note, and performance. Looking back at the letter he wrote to himself, he specifically wrote, "I will be a perfectionist, researcher, a trainer, a master." He trained for the greatness he obsessively visualized. Whether you call it manifestation, visualization, affirmations, identity shifting, or faith, Michael Jackson spent years conditioning his mind before the world ever saw the results. He wrote down the vision, he repeated it, he visualized, he embodied it. And then he worked obsessively to make it real. The lesson isn't that Michael magically attracted success. The lesson is that he created a vision so powerful that his actions eventually had no choice but to follow it. Before Michael Jackson became the king of pop, he became that person in his mind first. Michael Jackson manifested becoming the biggest artist on earth by age 24 because he refused to let his mind focus on anything less than absolute greatness. He kept the faith, wrote his reality into existence, and backed it up with unstoppable work. So my question to you is, what are you writing on your mirror today?
I don't care if the whole world is against you or tease you or say you're not going to make it. Believe in yourself. No matter what. Some of the greatest men that have made a mark on this world were treated like that. You're not going to do it. You're not going to get anywhere. They laughed at the Wright brothers. They laughed at Thomas Edison. They laughed at Walt Disney. They made jokes of Henry Ford. They said he was ignorant. He didn't have a college degree because he dropped out of school. Disney dropped out of school. They even took Ford to court to prove his intelligence. That's how far they went. Yeah. And these are men that shaped and changed our culture, our customs, the way we live, the way we do things.